Okay, so today we're going to start playing with Substrate. Now, I've already updated my operating system, and now I'm going to update the secure sockets layer, which is OpenSSL. So, or make sure it's installed at least. Yes. So we're copying it here, and what we want to do is allows encryption as data is moved along. Okay, so we got that. And we did the Rust environment earlier. One thing we may want to do is make sure it is, they have, what is it? We're going to set up the nightly tool chain. So we're going to do this, which is Rust update nightly. And okay, so we can run this. Let's see. Gives you a nice little copy. And we're going to paste it. And it's going to do what it's going to do. Because we want things to be up to date, and it's going to get the WASM 32-bit. We talked about WASM, WebAssembly, and that's again sort of like that's a VM that we're targeting. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build Substrate and test it out. Do a little chain and see what happens. So we will continue in a little bit. I'm just going to let this do what it's going to do. And let's see. Okay, it looks like we're up to date. So we don't have to stop. That's good. And now, let's see. We're going to create our first substrate chain. So the first thing we're going to do is we got to get the substrate code. So we're going to do this and copy that and paste that in. Actually, let's not do it there, because it's a git clone, so we want to do it under, I'm going to do it under project. There we go. Because otherwise we're going to have it in a weird spot. Okay. Let's see. You are ended. You come on. If you want creating to retain commit, okay. We're not changing anything. So let's go into substrate node template and do make init. And that's going to make sure it has what it needs. And then we're going to let this thing build. Funny, unless it's not finding it. That is, it should have everything it needs with Rust. but we'll let it do what it's going to do. And now we're going to do make build. So this may take a little bit, so we're going to stop the recording now and carry on when it's done building. Okay, so we're back. I got the first, I got the node template to install. That was a little bit of an issue when I followed their their instructions exactly. It did not work, and my guess there was some conflict with Rust and the branch that they specified, and perhaps the depth, that there was something that was missing. I have not used depth much. Basically, I believe what it does is it's taking the most, the changes that, the more recent changes, and which may be fine if you're continually working on it, but in this case, we ran into a problem. One thing I want you to be aware of is, okay, do you notice the palettes? So these are what's been compiled, the timestamp, balances, all the types of things that you might need for a blockchain. Finality, authorship. I think they have the grandpa algorithm, yeah. So that's what I'm talking about when we're saying building blocks. So let me show you how we're going to attempt to do the front end. And we're going to do it in a more standard fashion and not worry about their instructions. So this is the front end. So we're up here in the projects directory. We're going to go git clone, and then I found that the HTTPS is what, let me see, am I in the right place? I'll use this, got code. So you click on code and HTTPS, it seems to like that. I found sometimes when you try to clone a repository, it likes certain things and it doesn't like other things. So this is getting all the stuff out of repository, which basically we need the objects. Okay, so now we're going to go into it. Okay, so we did the front-end template, and we're doing the front-end template before we did the node template. And so let's do this. This is Node. Now we're doing the front end. Now, I did install Node.js. Let me just show you here. Nope. It's the other one. All right. So let me go up here, show you. All this setting up. So I had to first install npm. So I sudo apt install npm. This is on a Ubuntu system. It would be different on a different version of Linux. And that does that. And then the other thing that I did is let's see. Now the next thing I have to do here, let's do that while we're at it, is install. What is it? Why can't I? Yeah, here we go. Install yarn. So yarn is simply npm install global yarn. So let's copy that. And let's get that. Here we go. Okay, so we're gonna paste that. If you've used Node.js, you're familiar with the npm install. That's how you get the different packages. What does it not like? Missing, okay. You know what? I forgot sudo. So it wants sudo. And we now have yarn. Okay, so I was reading it wrong before. I ran into a little issue because I misread where I was at. And if you look, this is a Node.js code. So what you need to do is run yarn install. I was reading further up. And didn't like that. So let's run the correct command, which is yarn install. Oh, that's interesting. The engine node is incompatible with this module. Expected version. Okay. That's interesting. Maybe in this case we have to see. Problem may run into is if it expected version. Okay, we're going to look into that and be back. Okay, so I resolved the issue. Basically, there was a package mismatch issue, which is what I expected. Did a little Googling, and let me see if I can bring up, see if that comes up on your screen. No, it does not for some reason. So let's fix that. No. Well, here we go. What I'm going to do is, it's some reason. All right. So this is what I found. Number of people had this issue. And what I found is doing the ignore engines. They talked about some other things. Delete. I have a feeling that this might not have worked because I would have installed the same. So now it's all loaded. And let's go back here. So we may run into an issue here because my disk space is getting low. And so we've installed the front end. We can go this page, the next page goes through some of the things we've discussed about Substrate and blockchain. So let's see if we can start the node. Let's go back here. Let's go into the node template. Because the Substrate front end is what's going to show us what's going on. And CDS. runtime, target, release. Oh, actually, let's just release node template, and there we go. So we're running a, did the Genesis block. All right, so now we want to look at the front end. And first of all, what we got to do that is we got to start it. So we got to go to the front end directory. Okay, so it did not like that. There's obviously some incompatibility with the latest version of Yarn. And there is, oh, sorry, So we're going to have to look into that. And but meanwhile, we did get our temporary node up. So we will have a look at that and finish it up. Okay, so we ran into some issues with actually getting the front end to start, and the problem was the version of Node.js was too old when I just did, I think I did apt-get npm or apt-get node or whatever it was. So what I had to do is actually, where's the right wiki? Go to the node source wiki. I followed the instructions, made the appropriate call. Well, this, if you look at the distributions, so they had a Debian, and I just grabbed the latest one. That's about 3 weeks old. Followed the instructions specified, and this is, let's go back. Followed the instructions specified in the latest setup, which using curl and putting sudo e. And then you had to run, when it completed, you had to do an apt-get, where is it? Apt-get Node.js, apt-get install -y. They specify it right here. Then I was able to run the start command. So be here. And then it tells you where on localhost. And let's see. And there you go. And you can see the blocks going. So we now have a Substrate node, and we have some commands locally or some users locally. Let's see, that balance, we can transfer, we can interact with palettes. Let's see what we got. Balances. So as you can see, these are the building blocks, the palettes. So transfer to see if you can So this is an intrinsic. Remember, we mentioned that intrinsic kind of extra things, the data for the block. We can do a query. So balances, account, and the account ID would be, let's copy this. I think that'll work. Let's see if that works. And paste it in, and query reserve. I don't know if it, because according to this, it has a balance. So, not sure what's, well, let's try it. If that's the right one. Free reserve. Let's see what happens if you put in Alice. I'm not sure what the account ID is. There we go. Invalid. So it didn't like that. Okay. Users. And you can do up to, this is where you would do a runtime upgrade, and maybe we'll get to that next time. I'm curious about looking at this. See if we can see. See if we can look at blocks, which is what I want to do. So this is all kind of the built-in different things. Query. Grandpa. State. Let's see what happens. When we do that. No state. Current set ID. 0. Flip substrate. So anyway, so we got this up. A little bit of some issues with the instructions did not exactly work. So that's something you know, you have to be aware of. Sometimes when you go through these instructions, you don't know when it was written. Something could have changed between the time they wrote it and the time you're actually trying to play with it, and it just there may be an incompatibility, which is what we found with building the back end and the front end. The version that using just a standard apt-get was too old, so I had to figure out how to get the latest version of Node on here. Seems a little odd. We'd run into that because Node is used so much, it's used all over the place. I would have expected just a standard apt-get would have gotten it, but at any rate, I'm wondering if I had to do apt-get Node.js or apt-get install Node.js initially. But At any rate, so hopefully this has been helpful. It took a while, but I think it was worth it in the end. And now we've seen Substrate. We have a test blockchain, and we can start taking advantage of it. We can take advantage of ink, which lives above this. We can do stuff in pure Rust. Take advantage of what Substrate has to offer. So anyway, thank you for sticking with me. If you've managed to stick till the end, and if this has been helpful, please give it a like. And if you're interested in seeing more, click share, and you will get your notifications. So thank you and take care.